Hello, hello. Just getting everything set up this morning. Boy, I think, believe it or not, things are good. No wrestling with the camera. Happy about that. How are you? Happy about that. How are you? Happy about that. How are you? Happy about that. Knew that there was going to be something. All right. Who's here? I'm actually just right on time, it looks like. Let's see here. This set up. Oh, nice. All right, I'm trying to get my laptop situated, which will be a good thing. That way I can see your comments. How's your week been? It's been good. Busy. We got our cut files uploaded. For those of you that haven't seen them yet, I meant to print them today so that I could show them to you. But if you get a chance, go to our website and check them out. There's one freebie and I think 7 or 8 of our subscribers. For some reason, my keyboard on my laptop isn't working. Hey, hon. My keyboard on my laptop is not working. Hang on, I'm gonna reset. I'll restart it, but I can't read comments until this is up, so maybe you can moderate from up there. Haha. Okay. So we have some fun things planned today. Our September kits have all been shipped. It's gonna bother me if I'm, oh wait. If this is crooked, it's just gonna annoy me. Am I good? All right. Okay. So our September kits have all shipped, and I think that you should have received yours by now if you're in the US. If not, if you're outside of the US, they're on their way. It takes a little longer for them to arrive. Fix this light just a little bit. Kind of got my lighting resituated, and I think it's better. All right. Should be good. All right. A little bit of glare on all the shiny stuff, but we don't need to worry about that. So, the glary stuff will only be there for a bit. All right, I think I'm good now. So I've been playing with our September kits a bunch. And it's been really fun. And we're going to do a little bit of a lot of different things today, which will culminate with a layout, believe it or not. So I'm excited. All right. Let's see. Find us in that way. Hopefully. All right. If you guys can hear me, will you guys pop a comment? Whoops. Why that's doing that. If you guys can hear me, pop a comment in there and let me know. So I think I can hear myself when I hear the sound, so. Yay. I'm super excited to be here and make sure that everything's good. Okay, so today we're going to focus on, believe it or not, I might even sit down today. How about that? We're going to focus on our some fun ways to use our alpha metal die and our coordinating stamp. Not necessarily in ways that you would assume that you would use it. We're going to use it a little differently, but I'm going to show you the versatility of these products, and in addition to that, also our color kit. You don't always have to use ink pads when you have stamps. There's a lot of different things that you can do, and I'm going to show you how to use your Lindy's stamps along with both of these things to create a background. The other thing is that, you know, obviously you can stamp the stamp using your regular ink pads, and you can lay your die over the top of your stamped image and then run it through your die cutting machine, and it will cut out alphabet just the way that you would assume that it would be, could be done. The thing with these stamps though is that you have to season them. If you are trying to stamp with them brand new and you're not finding that you're getting really good ink coverage and impressions, it's because there's like a kind of like an oily finish on the stamps that needs to be kind of worn off. I did see, I'm not even sure who did this, but on YouTube I saw somebody just used a embossing ink pad, like Versamark, or what is it called? Yeah, Versamark embossing ink, which looks like this, and they used that immediately when they got their stamps. This stuff is kind of sticky, and so I think that they used that and then they cleaned their stamp, and that seemed to help. And apparently it's supposed to help with your stamp staining as well. I don't know whether that's true or not. I don't necessarily do that, but that's one thing that you can do. Hi, Antonia. Good to see you. Glad you're here. So anyway, so be sure to season your stamp. And the way to do that is to just ink it up really well, stamp it on just scrap paper of some sort, and just stamp it until all of the ink is off. Then do it again, and probably do that like a dozen times or so, and it will help get rid of that oily finish on your stamps. You can also, before doing that, you can wash them with warm soapy water, and that might help a little bit too. But I did have some issues initially when I started using these stamps with the ink not adhering to the stamp well. And usually when it's a big solid stamp like this with, you know, really solid shapes on it, you notice it more. So because there's more area to cover. So anyway, season your stamps. That's the bottom line of, or that's the message. So without further ado, we've got our September kits, and they're, I kind of went through them last week. I'm going to create with some of them today. I'll be using a little bit of a lot of things. Our cardstock kit. The other thing really quickly, well, I'll go back to that in a bit, but I'm going to put this die aside, and I'm going to show you, actually, I'll put the stamp aside for now. So I'm going to show you, these are just the negative space of the, from when I cut out a bunch of alphas with white cardstock. So I just took sheets of white cardstock and I cut them out over and over again. And I've got a ton of white alphas for me to use. I've got gesso on my hands, by the way. They're dirty. What can I say? And I also did the same with our cardstock kit. And I've got a bunch of colored alphabet as well. So super fun. And I'm going to use some of the leftovers from these on my page today, and I may use those alphas as my title. So anyway, what I did with these is I took 2 layers of white cardstock and I glued it together. And then I took some gesso, which I think I have right here. So this is like Finnabair Art Basics Heavy White Gesso. This works with Lindy's. So if you are going to put gesso down, you want to use this particular brand. I don't know why it works the best, but it does. It allows you to put your color down and not have your colors get muted. With some of the others, the colors just get really drab and muted. So you'll want to pick some of this up. You can grab it at, it comes in clear. And the nice thing about the clear is that the clear is also smooth. A lot of clear gessos are gritty and sandy. So if you decide that you want to write on it afterwards to put your journaling or whatever, you've got this gritty, sandy texture on your paper, which isn't any fun at all. And if you're using some type of a ballpoint pen rather than like a fine liner or something like that, you'll find that it's hard to write. and with the gritty stuff too, it's harder for things to adhere to your page. So anyway, Finnabair Art Basics white or clear gesso. You can get it on Amazon, scrapbook.com, Simon Says Stamp. I'm not sure if you can get it at Michael's, Joann's, or Hobby Lobby. I'm unsure about that. I know that probably online on Joann's and Michael's, you can probably get it there, because I know that they carry the Tim Holtz stuff, but this is not Tim Holtz. This is by Prima, so I'm not sure. Definitely Amazon. So I'm going to put that aside. So these both have been gessoed, and the reason that I did that initially, when I did this at first, I didn't put gesso on these, and when I was using my blending brush, because you have to go over it, and I was using like a somewhat wet-ish brush, it was just eating the paper up, and so I was getting all of these little wads of paper on my background, and that is not what I wanted. So I decided to put a coat of gesso on these, and it pretty much did the trick. It's not perfect, but better than untreated cardstock. So what we're going to do is, first of all, I'm going to set this aside for a second. Now I have added, let me see if I can find a smaller, actually, let's do this. I have, this is watercolor paper, and I'm just going to swatch the colors here, and I've put them in my paint palette. Actually, I'll use that separately, but because I want to show you how you go about doing this. Grab my one of the round paint brushes. Round paint brushes work really well because they hold a lot of water. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a glob of water, or a big puddle of water right here, and then this is the, all three of these Lindy's were included in our September color kits. This one is Cafe Terrace Tangerine. And Lindy's are cool because the powders come with a bunch of different colors in them. And so depending on how you use them, you'll get different results. If you haven't had a chance to check out last week's video using Lindy's, you'll want to do that because you'll be able to see all of the different ways that it can be used. And today we're going to focus on using Lindy's on untreated and ungessoed cardstock. So this, my gosh, my brush has cat hair on it. Of course it does. Okay, so that is the tangerine. Now, if we were to see, I've got some of the little granules in the tip of my brush, and you can see all the different colors that make up the Lindy's. So it's got some yellow and some pink. And so if you put water down and use like a spray bottle and mist over the top. If you put the powder down and then you use a spray bottle and mist over the top of it, you get all of those colors just kind of explode, and you can see all the different hues on your page. And then if you decide to mix it up using a brush, you can do that too. So, all right, so that is the terracotta. This one is Portrait Blazer Blue, and we'll add water to this one. I think you'll be able to see. I've got these, this is for another day, but I've got these little droppers that we're gonna do some fun stuff with. You can get them on Amazon. They're super cheap. I think I got 100 of them for $10. Okay, so let me clean this. You see how pretty that is? Okay, so I'm gonna mix it up. Add it to, this is watercolor paper, by the way, so it reacts a little bit differently. It just carries the color so much better. So like, as far as like blending and bleeding and mixing your color, it just is, it's different. I prefer it over cardstock, plus it's much more durable. So, and that's with some water. Okay, so then we'll do, this one's Gustav's Gold Leaf. And all three of these are flat magical powders, so there is no shimmer in these. Lindy's does have magicals that have shimmer, and we'll be using some of those in the coming months as we approach the holidays. And yeah, okay, so let's grab a brush. I want to make sure that I get all the blue out of this, and you can see how pretty that is. Just add some of that. So this palette is great for like going from summer to fall. And the nice thing is that you can blend these colors together to get different colors. So I'm going to see if I can pick some of this up so you can see. This has like pinks and blues in it to kind of give that mustardy and a little bit of green, and it gives this like kind of a mustardy yellow. So anyway, those are the color swatches. And just took some paper towel, dry that off just a bit so I don't spill water everywhere. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to practice. I want to be able to put my paper here, and so I put this all in the wrong spot. So I'm wasting it. I know, it's terrible. Okay, I just want to be able to put my paper in the right spot. Okay, so I'm going to put some cardstock here. We'll do this again with, let's do some yellow, and we'll do some of the tangerine, and some of the blue. Actually, I'm going to push. I kind of use this. It's dry. I just want to move this out of the way because we'll use the blue separately in a little bit. But we're going to start with the yellow and pink. Okay, so we'll wet this. And we're going to use an ink blending technique to create our background. And the key to get a really good depth of color with these is that you want to dry the layers in between. Okay, so let's take one of our stencils. And I'm just going to take this blending brush here, and I'm going to put it and pick up some of this color, and we'll just start using this as a stencil. So you see how that works? And then maybe we'll add a little more over here. And if you guys have any questions about this at all, just add them in the comments and I will answer them. It may take me a second, but I will. Okay, so then we'll add some more. And I'm just kind of doing this randomly because I want it to be kind of free form. I don't want to have like sharp square edges, so I don't want it to look like a block of of text. I just want to have like a little bit of color here and there. Okay, so we did that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm quickly going to grab my heat tool and I'm going to dry this really quick. It's not very wet, but if you dry it and then you add your next color over the top of it, you'll get that buildable, you'll see that color building on one layer to the next. Okay, so you can kind of see how that looks. It's just kind of messy. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. Now we're gonna grab some of this tangerine. The other thing that I noticed with these is that it takes a few minutes for the powder to dissolve completely. Sometimes you'll see that it's a little bit grainy, but if you let it kind of sit, those little grains of pigment will dissolve. Okay, so now we're going to grab a different brush and we're going to layer over the top of it. And this gives that more abstract feel as you layer I'm gonna actually add some more color because I think I want this a little bit deeper. Don't want it red. And actually this color wouldn't come out like red. And you just want to be very light-handed. And you'll see you're getting another layer of that color. Grab some more of this. And I'll fill in some of these. And the other thing to remember when you're creating a mixed media background like this is that you're going to cover most of this up. So don't be shy about having a lot of space and pattern and color on your background. See, that's a little blocky for me, so do you see how there's like, it's not as soft. Let's see if I can break that up. Okay, I'm going to dry this. Actually, let's add just a little bit of orange. Okay. Excuse the noise. Okay. And now let's add some more yellow, I think. Oops. Wipe that up because this stuff gets on your paper and you don't have gesso on it. There's no time to remove it. Okay, so now add some more yellow and just add a little dropper. Just mix this. And let's add a little bit of yellow down here. I'm feeling that this area is a little bit heavier, so come down a little bit and lighten this up just a tad. Okay. See, I got really square there. Okay, let's do just a little bit more of the red. Mix this up. Add a little bit. And just a little there. But there's just no rhyme or reason. I'm just trying to create a little bit of a kind of an abstract look. Okey doke. To try this, and then we can maybe mix the orange and the yellow together, and we'll get just a third color. But the key is to dry this in between, and then you get the buildable color, and I'll show you this up close in a moment. So now let's just mix all of this together. And I think it's going to give us like an orangey . Yeah, so it gives us a different color. And I'm not going to use a bunch of it because I don't want this to get too overdone. Just add a little bit there. Alrighty. So that is what it looks like. And it's really cool. So the other thing that I was going to show you, so that's using the negative space of the alpha die as a stencil. And if you do 3 layers of cardstock, it might be a little more durable. Mine's kind of getting a little soggy. Okay, so now let's use the stamp. And try this because I'm going to drag this. Drag this powder over here. move this where I want it. There you go. How about that? Okay. So I'm going to add some water to this. Mix it up. Sure. See how pretty that is? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a fresh sheet of cardstock. And then we're going to take our stamp. I'm not using a stamp block with this, although you could, but I think that for this purpose, just using the stamp on its own is gonna work better. Because you don't, I'm not gonna lay it down like this and get all of the, I don't care how the letters are gonna look necessarily. I just am kind of creating that texture. So I'm gonna add some of this color to my stamp. And just lay it down and see how I got just a little bit of color. I'm gonna use a paper towel on this to kind of blot up the excess in between. And the reason I'm doing that is that if you just smush and smush more liquid onto your paper, it's just gonna turn into a blob. Okay. Not exactly. See, I ended up with there. But it allows you to kind of go in and create a quick and easy kind of an abstract background. Okay, so what we'll do is we're gonna dry this. Take the paper towel and kind of pick up the excess in between. My cord on my heat tool is plugged into an outlet that is not as close to my desk as I would like it to be because my lights are all plugged in. Oh, what did I forget? What happened here? Okay, so there is, it's still a little bit wet, but now let's add some yellow to this and see if we can get some green. Paintbrush. That one's red. I just want to make sure I grab the right one, because if I add red, yellow, and blue together, we're gonna get brown, and that is not what I want. Okay, so we've got this really cool green. into some areas, and this just gives us a little bit of depth. But in essence, what it's doing is it's just giving us this abstract look to our background and more texture than alphabet necessarily, right? So just take this and plot up the extra, and then we'll just let this one dry. You can see how it looks. Okay, so now let's just do the same thing, and we're gonna just be a little more sparing in the way that we add our color. And I'm gonna mix this up a little bit more. So we'll add some of this. And if you kind of hold the edges a little bit, you don't get that. You kind of get more of a random edge. You don't tend to get those hard square edges. Now I'm going to dry this. My cats have free reign of my craft room, and there is cat hair everywhere. And if you dry from and switch from top to underneath of the top and flip your paper over, you'll get less warping that way. But if you can see here, you can see all the color differentiation. You get a little bit of that yellow. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but you get a little, you can see some of the yellow and some of the more blue tones. Now I'm going to add just a little more blue. And we'll do a second color here. And I'm kind of going to water this down because I want it to be lighter, I think. So the less pigment powder you use, the softer the color will be. My water. I'm going to use this little, just gonna put that there. Put that there. A little bit there. Maybe a little there. Okay. And we'll just add up extra. So we get like two different looks. Now I'm gonna remove some of this from my stamp, and I'll wash that later. Just simple running it under warm water with some mild dish soap will help you get all the color off of your stamp so it won't contaminate your stamp pads when you use stamp pads with your stamp. So if we look at all three of the different backgrounds we made, so this one was ink blending. And out of the way, these have little lids on the top so that if you knock them over, they won't get powder everywhere. So there's this one, and then this one was using the stamp, and we used a little bit, the colors were a little bit deeper, so we didn't dilute them as much. And then this one is the last one, which is lighter, and we used more diluted colors. So you kind of get an idea. So those are some of the ways that you can use the stamp and the die, other than just stamping and die cutting your alphabet. And I have more. I created a couple of backgrounds. Using, so this is my in process stuff. So I've gone through my kits and kind of pulled some stuff out. And I'm going to show you two different ideas, or two different kind of layout ideas. So this is the first background I made, and it's the same as the one that we did. I may have mixed more yellow and the gold and tangerine on this one, because this is a little bit more orangey, but you can see all of the color. And so the other thing that I've got is I've got these leftovers from the cardstock that I used along with the alpha die. These are just leftover pieces, and I'm like, why? I'm going to use them as a layer behind my photo. It gives a lot of texture, and so like if I lay that down there, you can kind of see. None of it really looks like alphabet because there's a lot going on, but because it's a very limited color palette, it doesn't hurt your eyes. So let's say I do that, and then I have my photo on top. This is a photo of our oldest daughter, Megan. And I love it. Okay, so then I went through our Pocket Life kit and I cut up all of the cards that were in the colors that I wanted to use. So there's pink. This one I cut in half. This one actually was blue, and it had blue and green in it, and I cut it up and I used a piece of that post-it note tape. Brilliant stuff. And I just created a longer stripe so I could get more of this pattern showing on my page. And then here are some tags. So these are just layering pieces that I'll use as the base of my page. And then I went through the pattern paper and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to use. And I kind of, I was between this heart pattern that's called All the Feels, or this plaid. And I felt like, because of the background having a lot of different, the background was a little busy, that adding an additional color in with it was just a little much. So I felt like if I stuck with that more limited color palette, that it would be better. So I cut a 2.5 inch strip, I think that's approximately what it is. And I'm gonna use that. And then let me tell you what the name of that paper is, because I kept the branding strip. It's called That's Fall, Folks. And the branding strip on it has a little polka dot, and I actually might use that too. So these are some of the bits and pieces that I thought of using along with this background. Now, I also have, actually let's keep kind of going with this. So then I also went through our chipboard die cuts and the pocket die cuts and our ephemera and our journaling bits, and I pulled out a lot of things that fit in this color scheme. So the only exception is the pocket here, which I really want to use, and it has yellow stitching on it, so I think it will work. And then it has just a little bit of red, which will be picked up in some of the other embellishments. But there's, let me move all this out of the way and I'll kind of show you what I've pulled out. Actually, make use of my tray the way that I intended. Okay, so with the little, so with that little pocket, there's a bunch of different flowers, and I pulled out flowers that were pink. And with this, I thought I needed to add a little bit of blue, so I pulled out a few of the blue flowers as well. So, or flowers that had a little bit of blue, and there's some green leaves. So all of these are kind of within that same color family. And so I won't use all of these, but I think that you kind of get where I'm going with that. And I think that these pockets would be really cool, not for this page necessarily, but you could do a grid layout with these and have like 6 little pockets and maybe have them dropped a little lower, and so your photo or whatever is popping out of the pocket, or have a row of 6 of them or 3 of them across. Maybe I'll do that with something else. But and then in addition to that, I took the, what paper is this? See, I put things back, which never happens. Usually everything's on my desk as a big mess. And, oh, here it is. So I used the Leave Me Alone paper, and I fussy cut a bunch of leaves out of this one. And on the reverse side, it's got a blue. I don't know whether I'll use some of that or not, but I've got a bunch of little, my hands are covered in ink, but a bunch of little leaves that I fussy cut that I can use and tuck into that pocket along with the flowers. And they have like such a pretty little detail on them. And there's lots of different sizes. So I think I'm getting a little better. Okay, so there's that. And then the other things that I pulled are, these are all the little like tags and labels. And I won't obviously use all of these. Look at the little owl. He's so cute. Let's see. This works. He doesn't want to. No. All right. Dang. Oh, wait. No? I would see, I shouldn't have said it. Okay. So, there's some chipboard tabs. This is a little chipboard piece. Another chipboard label, and these are just from the journaling, like the journaling, these are all like journaling pieces and little labels and things. I also cut out a bunch of these word strips from our Pocket Life 6x8 paper pack, So they have a bunch of different words on them, and they're double-sided. So you've got a lot of different color options. So I cut those out. I might use some of those. And then there was this, this frame, and I love it, but, and I don't think that I would cut around my photo. I think I would leave the excess around and just leave my photo like that. But I think that this is a little bit too much for this page, but I will use it at some point, but not this time around. So, but there's other bits and pieces. I'm gonna flip this over so we can look at these on. There's a little bird. Oh, there we go. So I can just lay these down and you can see them a little closer. So all these little pieces, and these are all like that yellow, orange, pink, little bit of that reddish, and a tiny bit of blue. But I pulled all of these bits and pieces. I pulled some flowers out too. These are chipboard flowers that are included in our chipboard die cuts. Thought that those could be pretty. There's a bunch of little words all in these color palettes. And so sometimes when you get your new kits and you're looking through them and you're like, what am I gonna do? How am I going to, where do I start? Sometimes starting with a layout that has a limited color palette helps you get started, because then you get to kind of fine tune what you're gonna use to start with. And as you do that, then you become more familiar with the products that are included in your kits. So I won't use all of these, of course, but these are the things that I pulled out. So these are the die cuts, and that I would use along with the background and all of the layers in my that I'll put under my photo. So as for these trays, I get asked this often. I got them at Michael's, and they're with like the office and desk organization stuff, and they're great because they're narrow, or they're shallow, and they're wide enough and long enough that you can kind of spread things out. And they fit like chipboard frames and things like that. A lot of the little containers are small, and they don't quite. Okay, so I need to pan out just a bit. All right. So that is kind of my idea for my first page. Now, I also have a second page that I wasn't sure which one I wanted to use. Where? My photo. Okay. So this one I wasn't quite so organized. But I have a background, and this one was made with the stamp, and I love how it turned out. It's very similar to the other one that I did, and I thought I could use, now I've got this paint palette here that has lit paint in it, and I know I'm gonna hit it. There we go. Get that out of the way. Okay, so with that, I pulled out this paper, and it is, where did I put it? I had the, I have the paper. Where did I put it? Okay, well, I don't know what the name of it is, because I put it somewhere and I can't find it. Okay. Anyway, it's the one that has the alpha on the back. Sorry. It's gonna make me crazy, because I was so organized this morning, and then when I start messing with things. There it is. Knew it. So the background, it's on the B side of this alphabet wreath. So what I did, this is like a kind of a hexagon, and I liked the color and I liked the pattern, but I didn't want this much of it. So I cut a strip of it, and you'll see me do that often because I love all of the patterns that are in our kits. But all the patterns aren't necessarily meant to be used as a background or in large quantities. You could use multiple pieces of this, and you could layer it in strips like this, kind of going in different lengths. But having it in one solid piece like this is a lot for your eyeballs to take. So, and this one is called Letter Scramble. So what I did is I cut a strip of it, and then I was like, well, I love the pattern, so I just fussy cut along the edges and cut the hexagons, which gave kind of a unique edge or border, I guess, on this one. Now I also pulled, I love the idea of using some of these leftovers. So I pulled a couple of these leftover pieces of cardstock from cutting the alphabet, and I thought for sure I could use those. But do you see what I mean when I say you've got a lot going on your page, or it looks like you've got a lot when you're making a background like this? But when you actually begin to layer onto your page, you really see how much of it that you cover up. So, you know, adding a little more than you think you might need, having it expand a little bit more than you think you might actually want it, isn't necessarily a bad thing. But like, if I were to take this and maybe not have it run the entire length of the page, have it, you know, kind of run off the side here, and then that way I'm not covering as much. And I like the white space here too. Now, earlier I showed you one of these stripe patterns, and I wanted only some of the colors, so I cut the stripes out and I used some of that Post-it note tape and glued them together so I could have a stripe the way that worked the way that I wanted it to, in the right colors. You could do the same thing with cardstock as well. And our cardstock is cool because it's double-sided, but it's smooth. So if you stamp on it, it's completely smooth. But when you look at it, visually, it looks like it has a texture to it. So it looks like a textured cardstock, but it's not, which is great. And it's super heavy duty. So you could cut strips of the cardstock in the same width. Those are probably about an inch. And then you could combine them to create your own stripe. Maybe we'll do a die that will cut the stripes or the strips for you, and then you can put them the way that you want them on your page. But so anyway, so I started pulling things that were in that same color family for my page. So here's some blue. Then this also has a little kind of a taupey colored card. These are cards from the cardstock kit. I liked that. And the gray would work. And I even like the little pop of red. Or you could do the off-white and the navy. Here's a star, that would work. This may have worked on the other page as well. But that would work. This would work either way, depending on the colors that you were choosing to use. But adding a little bit of pink and yellow to this could work. Here's another one. My idea with this one would be to stay very minimal and use a very like minimalist color palette. So stay kind of monochrome. And then this one's pretty too. It's got just a very tiny dot. And you know, layering that. And then maybe having a little bit of this. And a little, might cut this down. The other thing too is if you have these, I'm going to show you how I use my Post-it tape. This is what it is. And it comes with 36 yards, so you get a ton of it. I think it's kind of a little bit spendy, maybe. Okay, so let's say I kind of want to reduce this by a 1/4 of an inch-ish. So not my favorite trimmer here. However, so I can take, and washi tape would work the same for this, but if you have to reposition it, washi tape sometimes isn't the most forgiving. This has a gray on the reverse side. So I can just take this and add my tape to it, and you wouldn't even know that it was wider than that. And if I wanted to, I could even shorten it. So things that have borders like this, you can customize them to fit whatever it is that you're working on. And then, because my point with this, or my idea with that, is that I didn't want to cover too much, because I don't have a ton of mixed media that on this page, and I want to be able to see it, you know? So having, you know, on this page, I want to say with what I would add to it, less is more. And so you've got all of these things that you can layer underneath your photo. And this just adds texture to your page. I actually think that I would probably do something like that. And then, let's see, but there's a bunch of different pieces. This would work too if I didn't want to use this. This is a little journaling card from our Pocket Life kit. Here's a frame, and that would totally work. In fact, you could do 2 frames and kind of have them, I don't know if that would work. That actually might not, but you could layer 2 frames on top of one another though. I don't know how I feel about that. But, so then you kind of see where I'm going here. I've pulled out lots of things with blue and black and gray and some navy and maybe a little bit of yellow. I think I'm going to stay away from pink and red and orange. I think I'm going to stick with just these softer colors. This was the remaining piece of that stripe that I showed you earlier. So I cut this off, and you know, with this I could easily, where's my trimmer, if I wanted to have something edging my photo, probably better with scissors than with my paper trimmer at this point, but anyway, so I could take these, and this is, if you just have like a tiny bit of something and you want to use it or make it work for you, all you gotta do is take a piece of tape, put it here, and then another piece down here. Another piece here. Funny thing is that I didn't want this dark. That's why I placed this the way that I did. I didn't want that dark edge to be on the edge. So, in essence, I'm making this look a lot harder than it actually is. It's because I'm trying to hurry, and when I try to hurry, I become all thumbs. But so, see how I took that small little piece? But now I can add it along the edge of my photo, and I've got this great pop of color that likely that little piece would have been something that would have just gone in the trash for the more than likely. But it adds that perfect pop of color on my page, right? So move that out of the way, get the trimmer out of the way. Now let's look at some of the other bits and pieces. I'm going to flip my paper over. Or maybe not. Let's just kind of layer some of these other bits and pieces. These are some labels. This one's kind of cute, although I think that it might be the wrong feel for my page. Here's some other frames, and I thought that might break up some of these straight lines. I could cut it in half and have half of it on one side and maybe half of it on another. But adding some different shapes, you know, when you've got a lot of things that are very linear, is really helpful. So I liked that. Here's this is from the journaling bits. It says this and that, and it's a great place to add journaling, and I like the colors. Depending on how I, put this together, that could work. I've got discover new skills. My daughter just got a new job, so I thought I would use that photo to document that. Moments like this, documented, enthusiastic, dressed for success. But you see how some of the things that you might look at as back to school, I think you can really see them in being used as like work opportunities or accomplishments or things of that nature. In addition to, outings, amusement parks, just things that happen in September. I probably won't use that, but for this, but I do like it. Great fun. You've got this now, right here. This memory. This kit has so many different things in it, and it has just such a unique feel. So noted, September, little phone with a text bubble or a like, I guess. Here's another little calendar. Reach for the stars, a label. I thought that this one might work well too. Highlights, and a couple more frames, living your best life. So I stuck with everything that was kind of blue and green and aqua. The best, I wasn't sure if I would use that here or on a different project. I won't use it on the other layout because I'm using the actual denim pocket with a bunch of flowers, but good things ahead. Here's another little tab with a cute little owl on it, and you know that I'll hold this up and you won't be able to see it. But right now, another label. This has a little flower. So I thought maybe adding a few flowers. The fussy cut leaves that I did would work too really well. This little ampersand. What a day. Another apple and a leaf. And so those were the things that I pulled out, and in case you're wondering what else is there. I still have all these things left. So these kits have so many embellishments in them. And I'm excited to use them. Our September kits are always one of my favorites, as are October, November, and December. So, and January and February and March. April, May, June, July, and August. So anyway, so these are the things that I was thinking about doing with this page. So I don't know how long I've been going today. I did spend a little more time on showing you how to make those backgrounds than I had intended, but I'm wondering if maybe I'll stop here today and I'll stop here today, and then next week we'll go ahead and we'll assemble our pages. And so if you wanted to play along with me and you have your September kits, you could make a background and go through all of your embellishments and sort them out color-wise with what you think you'd want to use with your background. If you don't have a stamp like this, you could use any texture stamp you've got, like if you've got paint swatches, or even you could do it with little mini stamps and just kind of piece them together. If you've got like our Pocket Life stamp, do I have that up here? I do. So like, even if you had like our Pocket Life stamp, you could just take all of these and put them on a stamp block and then just randomly ink these up. You wouldn't, actually you don't even need to put them on a stamp block. What you could do, and this would work with any type of stamp set that you have, but they have a backing sheet on them, and all you need to do is peel your backing sheet off, ink this up, and then you can lay it down however you want and create a background. So this would totally work too if you didn't have this this particular set with the alphas and the dyes, although I highly recommend grabbing this because I think it's super versatile, and I know that our design team are going to have tons of ideas. And think of like the holidays, and those of you that do like December daily, December documented, albums where you're using a ton of alphabet, and you go through a lot of it, being able to have a die set and a stamp set that will allow you to stamp the exact color of alphabet that you want. Also too, when you think of like those types of projects where you use tons of M's, tons of R's, and you run out of letters really easily. So having a stamp and die combo like this is really helpful, because you you don't have to invest in a bunch of sets of alphabet that you might not use entirely. So I'm not exactly sure what the price is, but if you think of a set of like thickers or alphabet stickers where you're spending $6 or $7 on a single set, and you easily run out of the letter that you need, this stamp set works really well for that. And the fact that we've combined it with the die makes it so easy to use, and it makes it really super versatile. The fact that it's a solid stamp and a solid die, it makes it quick, easy, and painless to get a bunch of alphas. So in fact, all of the alphas that I cut with the cardstock, literally, it probably took me maybe 20 minutes, because I had to like pop some of the letters out of the die. But so these, if you get our cardstock kits with our main kit, you get you can make a bunch of alphas that coordinate with the kits themselves, and then that way it just extends the life of your kits even further. You can get more out of them. And the other thing to think about too is that oftentimes the colors in our cardstock can be used with other kits. So, if you have a stash of our cardstock, you'll find that you'll be able to kind of combine colors and have them coordinate with future kits. So something to consider, to grab that before it sells out. So yeah. The other thing too I'll mention is if you have time to check the description box in our video below, make sure to check that out. I'm going to add a discount code that will save you, I think it's, hey Bob. It's either, I think it might be $10 off your order. I can't remember exactly what it is. We've got it set up, and I need to look that up. But I'll include the details. It's either $10 or I think it's $10 off your order. So be sure to look in the description box below, and there will be details with all of the gosh, I can't think now. I'm flustered. So I'll include I'll grab the info and I'll stick it in the description box, and it will give you all of the details about the discount and what you have to do to get it. It's pretty simple and straightforward, though. I just can't remember off the top of my head. I know all of our designers have the same discount code as well. So anyway, check the description box and you'll find all the details down there shortly. So I'll do it within the next 30 minutes. So I hope that you all found this idea inspiring and that you'll give creating a background like this a try with either this stamp or any background stamp you've got, any stamps that you've got. Try using your stamps with watercolors of some sort. If you have Lindy's on hand, mists, you can do the same technique with all of those types of products. And it gives a different look than you would get other, with gives you a different look than you would get with using ink pads to stamp using ink pads with your stamps, and even using ink pads with your blending brushes. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Gosh, I feel like I'm just can't get my words out. So next week, if you're inspired to try this, find a stamp, create a background like this of some sort, get your products together that coordinate with the background that you've created. Either this kit, you could use the same idea with any of our previous kits. Just create your background and sort through your products and based on the color. And then you have an easy starting point for your page, and then we'll just start assembling next week. And I hope that that works for everybody. So as usual, I've enjoyed our time together. I look forward to this every week because it makes me sit down and play with my supplies and show you guys different ways to use the products that you have on hand. I think it's really important. I think that there is something very energizing and therapeutic about sitting down and working with your hands and unplugging for a period of time. It's a gift you can give yourself each week. So see if you can carve out some time to get crafty this week and make something pretty, and maybe get organized enough to join me next week and we'll create and finish up these pages. So yeah, so I will see you next week, and I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for joining me, and I look forward to our next get together next Sunday, 11 a.m. Oh, if you haven't already done so and you've made it to the end, be sure to give my video a like. It helps our channel. Also subscribe and hit that notification button, because for lives, it's great. You'll be notified every time, not only every time we add a new video, but also every time we are live on our channel, you'll get a notification. So that's always a good thing, because we're doing and adding more lives to our channel each week. So so stay tuned for that. I know that Natalie is going live on Wednesday at 11 a.m. So you might set a reminder in your phone, but if you hit that reminder, that notification bell, once you subscribe to our channel, you'll be notified when she goes live. So that's a good thing as well. So I'm going to close this out. I'll see you next week. Thanks so much for joining me, and have an amazing Sunday and an amazing week. Bye.